Very big court case is back in the courtroom today. The 5 men accused of killing Bafana Bafana captain Senzo Mayiwa will be back in the dock this morning. Lawyers are still going to confirm, though, who is representing accused number 1 to accused number 4 after their lawyer, Malesela Teffo, had decided to quit. But there's been a dramatic bout turn, hasn't there? Reporter Silindelo Masikane covering that story for us. Let's head over to her now. Morning, Slee. So we now once again might see Teffo back representing 1 to 4, but we also have to throw in the name of the instructing attorney, that being T.T. Tobane.
Yeah, today is going to be yet another interesting day here in the North Gauteng High Court, where we are expecting court proceedings to resume at around 10 a.m. this morning, Gareth, where we are expecting confirmation officially of the legal representation for accused 1 to 4. As you've stated a couple of weeks ago in quite a dramatic fashion, Advocate Malesela Teffo just quit and said that he was being harassed. But in a recent letter to the state prosecutor, for this particular matter, Teffo says that he's made a U-turn and in fact he is going to continue to represent the accused and is actually now citing witchcraft, saying that the judge has been using muti against him and in fact has made several demands before he actually returns to court, one of which is that Begicele, the police minister, is fired and that charges against his clients be dropped. But we spoke to instructing attorney T.T. Tobane just last week, who said that he was actually going to be the one leading arguments and continuing to represent accused 1 to 4. But for some analysis, I'm joined by legal expert Marius Du Toit. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Yet another dramatic session that we're possibly expecting. Teffo saying that he's not actually going to return to court this morning to confirm that he's going to continue to represent counsel. Is that even possible, to just kind of come back to a case when you've officially withdrawn in court?
Okay, the first thing we have to remember is that the attorney is acting on instruction from his client and he then appoints a counsel. But when a counsel runs a trial, the counsel has to continue with the trial until such time as he withdraws as advocate, and then the attorney would have to continue. So absolutely it is possible, but then the attorney would have to carry on with the trial or a new advocate would have to be appointed. But the courts will not just willy-nilly allow you to drop in and drop out of the case as you please, because now you're prejudicing the trial as a whole. And remember, if one accused says, listen, I've got a right to a speedy trial, and the advocate is playing up games on the other side, you have a right to say, well, listen, my trial needs to continue, and this nonsense should be nipped in the bud. Now, there's a provision in the Criminal Procedure Act. It's called Section 342 capital A. Now, this says if there's an undue delay in the legal proceedings, the court could mira motu investigate it and make an order that it deems fit in the circumstances to try and prevent the unnecessary delay. And I think that's maybe what should happen here.
Now, a lot of talk about the conduct and the language in which Malesela Teffo is using to address the court. I mean, allegations of witchcraft are quite serious.
Yeah, those statements are defamatory and should not be tolerated. You know, at the end of the day, we are all officers of the court and we have to carry ourselves with a certain level of decorum, and that means we have respect for the judge. We don't have to agree with him, we don't even have to like the judge, but it's expected of us to treat him with respect because of the position that he holds. And we should always remember as legal representatives that we represent the legal fraternity. And the public out there are looking upon us and seeing, well, listen, is this a career that I want to partake in? Is this how justice is dispensed in court? And if the advocate or attorney carries himself in a way that brings the whole legal fraternity into disrepute, it should be investigated by the LPC, the Legal Practice Council, and by the Bar Council to see if this doesn't amount to misconduct on the part of the advocate.
I mean, in your career, have you ever seen a trial unfolding in this manner?
I have, but you know, showboating is part of the way in which people represent the accused, and sometimes you try and act up to the benefit of your client, but you don't want to prejudice your client with your conduct. And at the end of the day, if you go at loggerheads with the judge, or the only person you are prejudicing is your client, because after all, the judge is only human. You know, if the advocate starts descending into the arena with defamatory statements, you know, dealing with misconduct on his part, then you can only expect at the end of the day the court's going to frown upon the conduct of the advocate and it will prejudice the accused in the long run. So it's definitely not something that should happen, and I think at the end of the day, we as a member of the public has a right to see that justice is dispensed. We have a right to see that the witnesses and that the accused, if they are guilty, are convicted. And there's a lot of shenanigans that amount to a circus at this stage, which shouldn't be part of the trial, and I think it's gone too far.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Teffo.
Thank you, Silindelo. Thank you for having me.
Just some legal analysis ahead of court proceedings this morning. That is Mario Stutoy, just giving us a sense as to what we can expect, and also the possibilities around the conduct of Teffo and its consequences for the trial, and of course the Meyiwa family, who have been waiting 8 years for these particular proceedings to take place. But as you can see, a lot of drama happening just around court proceedings without the trial in fact resuming itself. But of course those proceedings expected to resume this morning at 10 a.m. Gareth.
Yeah, and we'll be following this very closely, won't we? What's the old saying? Justice delayed is justice denied. And once again, it's going to be another day where the accused have to sit in court and wait for the lawyers and judges to sort out this particular issue. Silindelo Masikane, thank you as always. Back with you. Going to be fascinating to see how the court is going to handle this situation.